And so let's see. I probably want to pull out the participant list as well, so I can see you guys whether anyone raise your hand. Um, so so you can hear me, right? Anyone give me is any kind of response? Just make sure, like, yeah, okay, thanks. So okay. So what I'm going to do first, I will, as I kind of promised last time, I'll just give a very short or brief introduction of Python, and then we may talk about color today. But I will see like how much time I spend on Python. But I don't know any of you guys. Hopefully some of you managed to install Python, or like um if not, let's see. Okay, I want to maybe maybe I leave a terminal here as well. Let me just maybe do like that. So so maybe I just start here, maybe create a new terminal. So depending whether you are using uh kind of Windows or Mac or Linux. But by the way, if you're using Windows, like there's Linux for I don't know how do they call it, but yeah, now I'm sure you're using Windows 10, right? Because Windows 7 is not supported anymore, I believe. And Windows 10, there's some Linux for Windows, something like you can install. Yeah, it's like virtual machine, but it's just for example, I think for Windows 10, you don't even need to. Let me see, like what do they call it? For Windows, something like that. I forgot. Like I installed it in the past. Yeah, Windows subsystem for Linux. So and you can install that if you want to play with Linux and learn Linux. I just inside Windows.
Question. I don't see no question.
Uh, Say that again. No, that's no question. Yeah. So I guess okay. One thing like about the logistic, like about extra credit and so on. Like uh, yes, to count the participant and so on. Like to quantify that, basically you count the uh answer that for any questions I raise. But okay, I will warn you that this is a quiz question like from now on, so like you will know that like or like something that I expect or like I will just put something in the chat or like so you realize that is a question for extra credit. Um so but okay, let me go back to this one. Like if I would encourage you guys, for example, you use Windows, you can install like this, like, and then the Windows subsystem for Linux. I think that's how they call it. Uh, and of course, you can also install VirtualBox, something like that. But I think this is faster. But the only thing, the drawback here is I guess I think last year I played with this one and it's actually quite fast to me. Uh, the only problem is that it cannot access to your cameras. I mean webcam and so on. Basically, you cannot access. For example, using a laptop, it cannot access to the laptop webcam. So therefore, like it if you want to do like computer vision, like full that, like it at least like you cannot just like pull stream from the uh webcam. So it so of course like as I mentioned last time, you can just directly install like Anaconda also on Windows. But it's always good to learn some Linux. So I would encourage you guys to anyway like install that, maybe play around a little bit. And maybe like I give 5 minutes background on Linux or like something. Yeah. So if you on Linux or Mac. Like Mac is basically based on Linux anyway. Uh, so and I guess the first thing you probably need to know is I cd change the directory. So it's the same command in Windows as well. And you can go to the earlier directory cd dot dot or like go to that whatever directory. By the way, like in Linux and also I guess probably in many OS, a tab is your friend. What I mean is tab, right? When you need to just complete your command, you can try to press tab and then like it will try to complete your command. And in Linux, if you cd, you cd back your home directory, so your user. I can cd minus go back to my previous directory. So and then I want to select what do I have there. Let's see. Let me go to code here. I can ls will kind of like list. So it's like the same command as dir. So it's same as dir. This, how do you call that? Like I don't know how to call this symbol here. Uh, this symbol like suddenly I don't know how to call this. So this symbol is basically is a command prompt, like it's a just not command prompt, it's a command for your whatever like after this symbol here. So so therefore like it ignore like it's just like seeing ls here, I ignore whatever I wrote dir afterward. Um and in Ubuntu or yeah, in Ubuntu, I assume that if you're kind of like new to Linux, I would suggest you just install Ubuntu because it's easier to install. Everything is like most popular to everyone, so like you can find more like online documentation or like somewhere like you can just Google like whenever you get stuck. So and the most important command you need to know is a sudo is by the way is a you if you want to like run any system command. So system in the sense that it will actually yeah I should say it
What the
more precisely.
fuck?
Yeah, it's actually sudo like is allow you to run as root. So root, if you know like in operation system, like it refer to the administrator basically in the Unix family. So and so whenever you run sudo, you need to be careful. Like whatever you run afterward, um, it's basically like a command that can uh, potentially harmful to your entire OS. Like, but of course, it is kind of like exaggeration. Like most of the time, it's fine. So, but if you want anything like without sudo, it's just be running as is, like your current username, like here, like PH Samuel is my user, like so. And the command, as I mentioned, is important. Apt install something is like install packages. So for example, I can try to install like Vim. I don't know whether I have that already. It's an editor. So I didn't have that. So because I just recently reinstalled the OS, I upgraded to 2004. Um, and Vim is like an editor. Like so. And by the way, like another very useful is like if you don't know what package you need, maybe like some kind of packages like you can use sudo apt search like Python, then it will just like list out all the packages, right? And then like yeah, anything relevant I can install it. For example, like this Unis, maybe I can want to install Unis. I don't know what's that for. Uh, yeah. So actually that's very convenient like uh kind of in terms of like everything like if you want to install anything it's very easy in on Linux. um so you and let's see maybe a little bit more just playing around. Let's see like what do I have like in the folder. Maybe have some example here. Uh, on Linux, of course, I can pull out a just look at the folder. Use the GUI here also. Like there's a file here. Oops. Why pull to here? Oh, okay, that's here. So I can go to actually like that. You can browse in that things and so on. But let me start on the terminal. That's a command called Nautilus. Is essentially it's the same thing as opening the folder in the current directory. So I have, for example, like I have some images here. I can double click to open that. Or actually, there's a EOG is like opening files as well. Like so, maybe like EOG that like will open a file. I mean, sorry, like open a an image, like because this one is actually an image viewer. And in terms of configuration, of course, the image viewer is important, and I mean you can process a let's see. I don't have any videos here. It's fine. Let's not do that. And and you want to add the files, for example, like oftentimes I need to add some file. Maybe there's a test
Dr.
my
Chang,
yes.
I have just a quick question. So can I, is it fine if I use OpenCV on Windows, or Linux is preferred? Because I have never used OpenCV.
Oh,
That's my question.
yeah. You can actually. Yeah. You can. You should, but you should install Anaconda and then install. Oh, by the way, I have a link. Put a link on my website for instruction for installing OpenCV and so on, like in different OS. Yeah, but I just like to anyway spend like actually maybe more than 5 minutes like to if you guys decide because I guess many of you like maybe like undergrad or like um upon side, yeah. Thank you. Like, yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. Yeah. So because like for example, if you graduated like as a master or like undergrad students, I think like have some exposure to Linux is very useful, especially if you work on small company and so on. So um it's an extra bonus basically, low
Okay.
kind of like experience in
Dr. Sam,
Linux. Yeah. Yes.
so is there any specific version of Ubuntu that we can use?
Or any version is fine. I
Any
would
version is fine.
suggest just to, but install the long term. How do they call it? Long term release or something like that. Like
LTS versions?
yeah, no, it's like they have like this long term release versus
Yeah.
not long term. It's preferably because the long term release like is more stable.
Right.
It will be supported for a longer period of time. You don't need to worry about that. So I just recently upgraded myself from 1804 to 2004. I guess 2004 is the latest long-term release. And so far I have no trouble with anything. So I guess it's okay like if you install it
Okay.
2004.
Thank you.
Um and and let's see what else. Yeah. So if I want to like most important, like I guess play around besides I need to open an image. Let's say I want to edit a file. Let's say I edit file. The easiest editor is just gedit here. Like if I use gedit, open the file here. It's very simple. Like it's just like notepad in Windows and then like Control S just to save it and so on and so forth. Oh, and one thing like I guess it's good to know is um you see like I one gedit in the command prompt here, right? And then like or like in the terminal, and I started this application. Now I kind of like I shouldn't get stuck, but you see like my terminal here is like basically it's like not receiving any more further command. Of course, if I close the application, I will go back to the terminal. And I can like play with the terminal again. So let me start it again. So if I want to, I don't want to close it, or like maybe if I want to close it, like from the terminal, it's just like Control C. It's like very common in many, I guess, many OS. Like Control C will break the application and basically will close that application. But be careful, like if you do Control C, if you didn't save your changes, then basically for I don't know whether for gedit, for many application, it may not have a backup there, so then you may lose your change. So or like it's good to know like you can press Control Z as well. So if I press Control Z, it basically will stop the application. But if I go back to here, essentially, you see like it's frozen because it's not running anymore. It's like kind of stop here. I can put it back up. If I do foreground FG here, now you're going back up. So it's like you see it's like going back up here, but then my terminal is getting stuck again. So I can press Control C again, like then to stop the job. Um, but I can put background actually if I BG that I basically put in background. Now I might both my terminal and also my application is like I can play around with that. Uh, and yeah, that's one thing is good to know. And you can look at like actually you can look at what's running at the background. So for example, like you can see like top or edge top like to see all the kind of what's that jobs running in the background. Of course, it's hard to see like this. So like Zoom is using a lot of resources. Um, and let's see, I can PS will be uh, it's also like list all the job here. Let's see. I guess I probably AUX will be like uh, listing all these jobs, like lots of them. So and that's a man is like kind of like doing it's like help, but it's like very kind of detailed help, like a document like precisely what the commands is about. Like for example, I have this PS is a report snapshot of current processes. So so I have like but I of course I don't quite remember. AUX is all these um, um, options that I can put into the command. But uh, yeah, I just remember this AU. I don't remember in individual what is AU and actually stand for, but you can man PS to look for that. But let's see, I AUS, then I can grab the application that I just wondering. For example, I want to know like actually what this has a lot of jobs, right? But I just want to look for the jobs that is GID here. So then I can see precisely what is that job here. That grab command is basically you have anything. Uh, oh, okay. By the way, like I didn't mention this thing is like a pipeline, something like. So for whatever, like I have this command here, like PSAUX here, it just lists everything into the uh to the output to the terminal, right? So when I have this how to go this again, I probably like someone can help me like what's this symbol called. So this vertical stroke here, vertical line here, that pipeline here will just forward like the output like to whatever command later on. So maybe I can more will be like just basically will not display everything at one time. It will display one page at a time. Or like as what I did like when I pipeline to this grab command is look for whatever in that pipeline into the output, like look for the word that I'm getting into that. Like so as I mentioned, I grab yeah, gedit. Then I just saw that um that job there is here. Right. So this is actually a job number here. I can kill that job. So sometimes if you have some application stuck, it's where in Linux actually, it's quite stable. So if I got stuck there, I can kill that. /9 is something kind of like I don't know, I forgot like what's that stand for, but it's like it will kill it like anyway, so it's like forcefully kill it. So if you don't have that, it may not kill that. Actually, I may try that. So in this case, still kill, but sometimes it's some application that I may not kill the job without that /line. But okay, so I guess it's more or less my all everything later. It's something like maybe interesting to you also playing with Linux and like with video and so on. So that's a FFmpeg. Of course, like that's some it's in it should be available on Windows as well. So it's very convenient for you to process videos with FFmpeg. So you can transcode your videos or even like maybe just extract audios and so on. You yeah you can look for that command, maybe search on Google if you want to know more about that. So okay, let me hmm, let me get to Python as I mentioned. So if you haven't installed Python yourself, or like if you have installed Linux environment, either for VirtualBox or something, or even like in Conda, but of course you will use Conda. But if you use Linux or Mac, like again, if you have a virtual environment, maybe last time I already created a virtual environment, so this is a virtual environment. I can, Spider is a editor, so it's like something similar to gedit. So for you to edit, but you know like using or like I should call it IDE because like Spider you can also do debugging. So I think there's a Windows version for Spider as well. Yeah, you can definitely. But usually, if you write a small amount of code, like just test it out, I always I find it's more convenient just use Jupyter. So I already opened the Jupyter notebook here. So this is something very similar to Mathematica if you have played with that before. If you are using Ubuntu like on virtual machine, do you need to? Most of the time you don't actually. You don't need to install an Anaconda, but okay, actually you did need to because I have the first homework will ask you to pull like video stream from your webcam. So in that case, you will need to install Anaconda. Like if assuming you're using Windows, right? You need to install Anaconda. Um, yes. Otherwise, you can play with yes. Um, yeah. If you have installed Anaconda, then you just need to install the OpenCV packages. I don't exactly remember the command there, but I think I should have that there. So let me see. Uh, so I I I put the instruction on the website. I also like put it in put the link in Discord as well. So I didn't try this year, but I tried last year. It seems to work. So Anaconda like yeah, in the Anaconda part, yeah, you can use pit install as well. It says pit install is easier. Of course, in Anaconda there's a Conda. They recommend you to use Conda, but I like to use pit install because it's faster. Um, I don't know for some reason like if you're using to use Conda, it probably like it has lots more process. But if you just use pit install, probably it should be okay. So you need to look for the Anaconda prompt. Yeah. So turn on open Anaconda prompt and then like pit install that. Yes. Um And okay, I guess yeah. So okay, now let's really get into some Python. So yes, and as I mentioned, you like to use Jupyter Notebook. I think uh, in Windows you can just open Jupyter Notebook for probably like from the Anaconda that in the menu. That's probably an option for Jupyter Notebook. Otherwise, you can open like an Anaconda POM and then type Jupyter Notebook. Then you should start the notebook there. Then I can, for example, you can start a new kind of notebook here, another notebook. Then maybe I just skip, don't use this one. So I start a new notebook here. Then you can play around with that. So by the way, like this is of course I can be used as a calculator. So you can press one here, of course. But it's easier like to just remember that press shift enter, shift enter. That would be the same thing. Like you just want that thing. Oh, and also like maybe one more thing, like just if you haven't installed anything yet, that's another option. But again, like you 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 this is just like at this moment, like or like oh, okay, actually it's good to know anyway. So that's Colab as well. I assume like all of you have a Google account. You can just go Colab, research google.com. Then basically you get into Colab. Colab will be basically have a Python environment also. Maybe I use this account instead. There's nothing here. I actually has one thing here. Then maybe I should open this guy here. I yesterday started something. So it will be like the same as um kind of yeah, same as Jupyter, very similar to Jupyter as well. So I can do something like Python here as well. So it's a Python here also as well. Yeah. And, so you for Colab, you can okay. I can install OpenCV here. I think. Let's see. Oh, by the way, yeah, something is also good to know. Like, if I hear like one anything, like this is running some Python code, right? So, but this is similar to Matlab. If you want to run something like outside Python, or it's basically running inside the OS, so I can first have a exclamation mark here, so it's stand for like escape to the OS basically, and then I can pit install something as well. So well, this is very annoying. I don't know how to turn off this combo thing. So I think I can install Python Open. Okay, I guess probably I have the wrong package. Probably it's called OpenCV Python. So it install OpenCV here. But the thing is that I cannot apparently I cannot pull out a video stream here because running Colab is basically running in Google's cloud server. Right? So I can play with like lots of stuff, like lots of like just uh stuff like related to um Python, but I cannot. Yeah, I can even import the package here, but I won't be able to pull a stream here. So 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 I mean, but you can play with that. Like you can do exercise like there, but you cannot actually uh, do everything. Mostly, like not everything. As I know, you cannot create I mean a video stream. So okay, let me really get started to actual Python stuff. Um, so I assume you guys all managed to get into a something similar to Jupyter Notebook or like a Colab. Then maybe you can play along with together. I don't know. So Okay, maybe this can be my first question here, just for fun. So what's this equal to? So this is question one or something like that. So what do you expect this is equal to? You don't need to play with that. Along you can play with that along, or like maybe I make it more challenging. Then you can. Oh no, let me just keep it like that. Like what do you expect the result should be? Oh yeah, great. Actually, you don't need to. Yeah. So this yeah, this is a stand for the power uh, symbol, like in Python. I guess some other languages may have something different. Uh, I forgot what was the symbol for C now. Like I don't use that like for a long time. So yes, and basically I can do some computation like that, or like I can do, for example, modulo. This is modulo, maybe I modulo 9. This will give me 1 here, 10 modulo 9. Um, and I can do comparison. I say like, see if like 5 is larger than 3. So it say it's true. So in Python like that, in Matlab you will have like 1 and or like non-zero correspond to like everything true. Um, so in Python like you have precisely a Boolean kind of symbol to represent like true or false. It's just when you're true, it's like called true, and false is false. So, for example, true is basically true. Note that the cap is necessary. Like the first character has to be capitalized. Um, and let's see. And of course, a print command is if we print something, like for example, I want to print like if like 5, I can print 5. Let's say just print command. I can print multiple things. Like for example, print 5 and 3, 5, 3, 4. So like other languages, like you have packages. You have lots of packages. And like very nice thing about Python is it's so popular. You can always find lots of packages. Like people, you don't need to rewrite many of your codes. Like many packages are available for to help you to achieve whatever you want to do. So the way to import packages is import packages is just use import. There's a several way to import packages. I can import Siri2 will be just import Siri2, or like maybe like a very useful packages that will use often like is NumPy, is numerical Python. So this package is very much give you an environment similar to a Matlab. So you will play with like uh, tensors. It's like Matlab will play with matrix, but NumPy is even more general. Like you play with tensor as a unit. So tensor, like in computer science, is just mean multi-dimensional arrays. So you have like high dimensional arrays. For example, I can create a tensor like NumPy array. Like for example, I can create a matrix. It's like 1, 2, and 3, 4. Create me a matrix. Like this is I can make it like high dimension even. Okay, but let's stay with that. So and about import, I can import like sometimes I can. It's very often people will write like this: import NumPy as MP. So then I just say the name instead of like using NumPy here, I will use like MP instead. So it's more just like simplify the uh, shorten your commands a little bit. And also like another way to import things is like I can import from something. Like for example, I can from NumPy import like array. So then I will have an array command I'll just use directly. So it's like import into the global environment. So I can just create like 1, 2, let's just, and this will be the NumPy array. Right. So that's about import. let's say, let's talk a little bit about just some condition statements, like for any uh, language you have if and something like that way. I can if something, if 5 is or like 4 is bigger than 3, then I will want something like that way. Then I pin 1, let's say. So one thing you notice here is that Python has a very interesting way uh, of like kind of defining the block of statements. So here, like in C, like probably you have a kind of like curly bracket, like to I mean, like in C, you may write something like that, right? 3 larger than 4, then like curly bracket PNF, then 1, let's say. You may do something like that. But in Python, like basically the block is not kind of grouped by the curly brackets, but instead like you use tab like to basically you have some horizontal space to specify like the to group the block. So it's yeah, this is good and bad. I don't know, depends on like where you came from. So this is similar to Fortran if you use Fortran before, like and remember like there's a there's a colon here. So oftentimes if you at the beginning there's a tendency you make a mistake like that, like you forgot the colon, then yeah. So and for Python, like that's something like kind of have another way to use the if statement. For example, like I can have like uh for example, like I have bigger is equal to maybe I just define something like that. Y is equal to, let's say, I can write like something like that also. Yx is equal to 1 and 2, let's say. So then I have y is equal to 1, x is equal to 2. So I can say like which one is bigger. Bigger is equal to uh, y if y is bigger than x, else x. So it's very readable, very easy to understand. So so therefore your bigger is equal to 2. Um and by the way, like for my if statement, I can have if else as well. So I can have like else something. Again, I need to have this semicolon. Else I pin 2, let's say. So of course, like because 4 is bigger than 3, therefore I pin 1. So maybe I have 2 as if 2 is bigger than 3. Then because it's not, then we'll pin this statement instead. When this statement, so therefore pin 2. Okay, this is like some if statements. Then like let's talk about for loop. Like I can have for something like in Matlab, if I want to print like for 1 to 10, then I will have something like that, right? 1 to 10, and then like print something and then like I will have an end statement somewhere. So this is something like Matlab. So in Python, I I will have a different syntax in something like basically like in Python here, like you always I have a for loop in something is a list here. You generate list, and to generate list from 1 to 10, I need to have a range command. Actually, this won't give me 1 to 10, but I will get something 0 to 9. So Python is similar to, yeah, that will work as well. Like, well, okay, that doesn't work. Like, you can try it out. Like, pin. Let's see. By the way, if you use pay with like Jupyter, and if you want to know like the keyboard shortcut, you can go for help, like something find the keyboard shortcut. I can use like A and B to create some. Oh, okay, what did I do? I don't know what did I do. I seems to make it bigger. So it doesn't matter. I just make it bigger. So let's see. Oops. So I cannot do that. I believe. I don't know. Can I? Or maybe I can. I don't know. Yeah. No, I cannot actually. this has to be like something equal to something. So this just return a value. For example, I can do again a x is equal to 4 if something like that. Oh, actually, even that doesn't work. I need the else statement there. Else 2. Yeah, that works. Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, I'm sorry about that. This is a this is Matlab. I'm just assuming like you guys are familiar with Matlab. So this is not Python code. Like this is not supposed to work. So let me just erase that, like not to confuse you guys. I seem to make it bigger and bigger, the terminal. No, it's not. Let me make it full screen so easy to see. So so that was the Matlab way. That's what I written. It was the Matlab way. Just yeah, I shouldn't even put it here because I'm just assuming you guys know Matlab better. So now yeah, if I want to create a list of like for example 0 to 9, basically 10 values here. I first create a list here, right? This is a list, and I just loop through the list. So therefore like that. So of course I can have another list from for example, I want to have 1 to 10 instead. Of course I can make it I is I don't know pin, for example, I plus 1 is that I plus 1 will be like 1 to 10, right? Or I can do, let's see, I can create something say from 1 to 10. So I will change it to 1 to 11. That will give me 1 to 10 basically. Or I can skip values here. Like for example, I want to just have the off values. I guess it's like this. So then it will just say, sorry, like, so off values I to skip like 2 at a time, I guess. Like, so then will just give me the off values here. So that's some loop here. Um, by the way, like because apparently Python is a interpreted language, just like Matlab. Uh, all this loop is very expensive. So for example, if I have an image I create as a NumPy array, so like maybe I have an image, like let's see, I have a random image is NumPy. It's just all ones. Let's say have like 100 by 100, let's say. So this will be 100 by 100 matrix here. So of course I can change each of the individual pixel doing for loops, right? Maybe I for I is in range 100, and then like for j in range 100, maybe I change the value here. Image ij is equal to 2 now, let's say. Now it did the job, but the point is like such processing is very slow because like all these for loops are very expensive. As an interpreted language, right, it's not optimized like for all these for loop. Like if you have a compile language, it will, somehow the compiler is going to optimize the code here. It will be much faster, but you don't want to do that. Like you don't want to do something like this. So that's why like we have the NumPy things and so on. Like that's probably like some, but we'll get into that like later on. So we won't talk about that today. But I'm just want to point out here is like be careful. Like just like in Matlab, you don't want to use for loop too much. Also, like in Python, you don't want to use for loop too much because they are generally expensive. Um. So and that's also like some shorthand notation for loops. Is okay, as you can see, like as I mentioned, like range here is really a list, right? If I have range, like let's say 10 here is actually a list. Of course, this is not shown as a list here, but I can make it force it explicitly as a list, like for I in. This is another like shorthand is like very nice in Python. So this basically like just create a list out of uh, this list here. Well, okay, maybe I call this list like this is L, like maybe this is a list here. Now L is basically like a list like that. So maybe I can create another list is like is equal to L plus one. Okay, I cannot run like this because L is a list here. I cannot, this is something not defined. You cannot do that. So when I write L plus one here, what it means is that it's thinking like there's two lists. I'm trying to concatenate them. So let's say if I have another list, L2 is equal to I for I in range, maybe this time from 10 to 21, let's say. Now I have L is like this, and I have L2 is like this. So if I have L plus L2, what it means is I just concatenate that two lists here. And now let's just focus on L again. Like if I want to like maybe create like 2 times each of the values. So of course I can do a for loop to do that. For example, I can do like for I in L, maybe L2 I is okay. That's a little bit annoying. I need to have some index here. So I probably okay. Let me do the stupid things first. I show the stupid things first. So maybe I create index starting from 0, and for maybe you can quickly delete a cell. If you keep the cell, let's say you pass escape. Wait, first thing, if you see like when I click the cell here, there's this pawn is like flashing, right? Then when you type something, it's like going to change the something in the cell. So if I press escape, then I will get outside that. Then like you can press like X to erase the cell, but be very careful. Like when you erase that, like it kind of disappear into history. It's hard to get it back. You can like, but I don't remember how to get it back. You need to Google that. Um, if you want to create a new cell quickly, you can use press A or B. But basically, like, when you click a cell, escape, and then you can click A or B. Okay, it depends on your version. Like I have the pretty new version. I assume like if you install Flash, you're probably in a pretty new version as well. Then it would be A and B. The older version is like that's a command. Is yeah. Let's if it doesn't work, like let me know. But A and B will work. A will be like creating cells before what you have. Like B will be creating cells like after what where you are. So so where am I? Yeah. I say like maybe like I want to create a list. Let's say I want to create a list. I say what I want to do is let's say I want to have like L3 is equal to L times 3 for each of the values, something like that. So then the stupid thing I can do, for example, like I can have like for I in this list here, maybe I use L2. L2 here, then I have L3 I is equal to L2 I times 3 times 3, and then I wait a sec. Yeah, I shouldn't have I'm sorry. ID, and then ID is equal to ID plus 1. So okay, this is this supposed to work. Wait, L3 is not defined yet. I need to define L3 first. That's a little bit annoying. I can define, actually I can do like that. L3 is equal to a empty list first, then I should do something instead. Like I think it's a pen or add. Okay, I can do like this. Okay, yeah, this can't work. So it would be 3 times the list there. So yeah, this is can't work. So or I can do it like as before, like maybe I have L3 instead is equal to a list is equal to I for I in L2. So if I have something like that, it's just I get I, right? But I can multiply by 3, maybe this time 4. Then I will have L3 is now is equal to 4 times that things. So again, like this kind of shorthand, when you get used to that, like it's very neat. It's easier to read actually than these things here, right? Here it's very clearly like you're just generating a list. How that list is going to change is I look at each of the elements here. I have this each of the elements going to multiply by 4. Yeah, this is very nice. And of course, even nicer, uh, if you have my list L2 here, I can first change it to a NumPy array. So I have L2 now is actually a NumPy array. So I have now L2 now is actually a NumPy array. Now then I can just directly multiply by 4. Then we will represent then 4 times of that guys. So now as a NumPy array, it doesn't consider that add 1 or something like as like processing a list. Now it's like consider array and do the manipulation, like computing, uh, like calculating, like what's that called? Yeah, directly. So and maybe okay, maybe I do a little bit more example for list and for loop. Let me create a list of like just characters, like apple maybe. And I can loop through the list here. Like for example, like I can loop through the list again, like for I in a list. Let's pin it out and see like it was just give me the character here, right? Now I want to also list the, let's say, list a number like before the character, just say like count this, like for example, this is 0A and 1P, 2P, and so on and so forth. What I can do is I can do a enumerate. This is another thing is convenient to know. If I enumerate this guy, I can have like 2 variable here. So pulling from this thing here. So now the first variable will be the index. The second variable is actually just the actual characters. So now you see that like if I do that, I have like COA, like I have 1P, 2P, and so on and so forth. So is that any questions? Like so and of course if I don't do that, like what I can do is the stupid way for me to do is like I did earlier, I can create a dummy index first, and then like for C in, then I print that dummy index and C, and then I have the dummy index just at 1 each time, then it will, oh sorry, I changed the, wait. Oh yeah, I still have enumerate. Like if I, that would be like the same effect basically. This yeah, I want to point out because this is kind of unique in Python. So another thing like about for loop and list and it's kind of unique in Python is like maybe I can have like 2 lists here. Again, I have a list here, it's just Apple, and then maybe I have another list. I just uh I think so. I forgot. Let's see if I can. By the way, like one thing like whenever you guys have like question like this, just Google that. Most likely, like for simple things like this, that would be like for example, like I don't remember the command, but yeah, actually that's a reverse here. So you just Google that. Uh, Actually, if you imagine something like that, most likely that's actually have like command directly to do that. Like you don't need, actually need to write code. So uh, let me just get this out of the way again. So for example, I can have reverse that will give me, oh, will reverse the list here. So let's say like I have reversed like two lists now. I have maybe I have let me reverse this again. Uh, Maybe I have like B list is equal to A list. Let's see. Okay. But sometimes I really need to be very careful. Like this may be just a pointer. I have B list now is like that. So if I reverse this thing, let's see. Let's see B list. What is B list? You see B list will change as well. So you can see like actually when I say B list is equal to A list, this is actually like the pointer in C. Like I'm not copying the values, but I'm copying the address of that variable. So therefore, like this is another thing. If you're working in Matlab, this is needs to be very careful. Like if you're very, I mean, kind of like get used to Matlab because this can be like some of these mistakes you will encounter because some of these surprise you may have because in MATLAB by default when you when I write something like that like B list is equal to A list, I'm really copying the values. Now if I change whatever A list, it's not going to change B list. But here like it doesn't. So be very careful. Like this can be a bug that you encounter like early on. So instead like I probably want to do I think there's a copy, something like that. I can copy that. So instead, if I do something like that, I actually it's actually get the values of A list instead. So now if I reverse A list again, maybe I erase this. If I reverse A list again, so B list should not change, but A list now is reversed. Um, and and let's say like I want to have like pin out like A E P L P P P L P M E A out. So one thing I can do is I can pack the list. So I can have like C1, C2 in they call it zip. So zip this A list and B list. And then like if I print C1 and C2, it will give me like something like this. So again, zip is something like convenient when you have multiple lists and then like you want to take like process like the corresponding elements of each of these, the list like one at a time, like a tuple at a time, that would be convenient. Of course, you can zip even more, I believe. So maybe I can zip again like a list, then I have like C1, C2, and C3. And do them something like that. So yeah. And by the way, like I have this list as a apple, but actually, oh yeah, I just mentioned the catch here is like when you do, let's say, you have, for example, like I have a list is apple here, right? Now, if I have B list is written as A list, let me. So if you are in the MATLAB let me remove this thing here also. I mean, I want this again, like A list, and then this B list is equal to A list. If you are in used to Matlab, this will expect B list is copy the values, right? But indeed, it's not copying the values. Now, if I change anything in the A list, now B list is equal to this guy, right? If I change anything of the A list, B list will change as well. For example, I have A list, let's say the second one is equal to, I have equal to C instead. So of course, A list will be changed, but B list, oh, okay, second is I mean the third one because like in C, like Python start with 0, B list will change as well. So this is one thing, be very careful. Like by default, like when you say like a list is equal to another list, you're kind of like a pointer in C, like you are saying this actually referring to the same object. So instead of copying values. So if indeed you want to copy values, as I mentioned, you want to do copy instead. So you add a copy here. So in this case, so okay. What else? Oh, by the way, I have A list is equal to this, but actually I can even do that. So if I have A list is equal to Apple, I can also like still like loop through that. Now it's actually a string here. Oh, okay, yeah, I need to back. If you use, yeah, and let's forget it. So in the early version of Python, you don't need the bracket. Yeah. So and what else? Oh, by the way, like for if this is character, for example, like if I want to do something like have a character word like apple, and I want to each character duplicate like A A B P L L E E, something like that. I can do, for example, like C plus C that will give me this A A P P L L E E, right? So but of course this is a list. But for example, if I want to create a character A A P P P P L L E E, what should I do? Like maybe I should give you like a second or two. Like how can I do it like easily? Any thought? The question is I have the input is like this. Maybe I erase that. The input is that I want to have like equal to that. So how or like or maybe I don't call it list now. Maybe I call it word. This is word, and this is a new word or like double word. So my double word is basically like I have each of the characters I have like duplicate one time. So maybe I can even have a triple word. So how do I do that? Or maybe a triple word is a AAA, PPP, and PPP, LLL, EEE, something like that. So so yeah, you can you can do it like, for example, like first create a list of AAA, PPP, LL. Okay, I don't make it as a quiz because this is not too complicated. I just want to give you guys some thought. Maybe I need to make it easy. Yeah, let me okay, let me finish my solution, then ask you to do a quiz. So for double, like what I can do is let's say, I first create a list, right? I create a list. How do I create a list? Let me say, like, how do I create a list of AA and then PP, PP, LL. So if I can create a list like this, then I can just use a join command. So there's something like join command that will create the word here. So this join command is a little bit weird, but what it means is just I will join these things in the list with whatever like given at the beginning. So for example, I have like, if I join them with like, let's see if I can use, yeah, I can join like this. So that means that if I can first create from this apple to this list here, then I can easily get this double word, right? So and to create the list here, so what I can do is, for example, I can do, no, you don't want to do that. Yeah, I mean, because your solution will be restricted to only this case, right? So you want to do something generic. So for example, if I change this to orange, then you need to change your code. You don't want to hard code basically. So your code should be adapt, should not be depend on your input. So for example, like from what we learned earlier, so what we can do is I can create a list of 2 times the, for example, if I just have C plus C for C in app word here. So maybe I put it. Okay, I didn't define this yet. So it will give me a list like this, right? So then so therefore actually if I join that, so it should give me the double word. So now how to do the triple words? I guess this will be easy, right? So can you write down a solution for triple word? So no, that's the entire things. So yeah, many of you guys get it right. So I can do this way. So if I have this actually plus C, supposingly it should work. So I can track that. So actually I can make it more. Yeah, some guys realize I can use a star here. Yeah, to just multiply 4 times. So now my triple was become a quadruple word or something like that. So yeah, so this is something for join. And okay, I guess I only have 5 minutes. It takes it's okay. I guess that's fine. So let me have more. So we look at the structure like list. Another very useful structure is dictionary in Python. So dictionary is just uh, as the name suggests, I say like something that you can have index can be anything. So for example, I can have A correspond to 1, let's say, then I have a dictionary, say, let A is 1, let's say. And of course, if I look for B here, uh, or N here, N is not defined, so that will give me an error. But I can say N is equal to 2, let's say. Then now my dictionary is A equal to 1 and N equal to 2. And so maybe I want to have a reverse mapping. So maybe I have some uh, word here. Okay, this may not be a good word. Apple is not a good word. Uh, uh, let's say I have let's say another word. Maybe a word is just word. Let's say word, and I want to know like each of these character. Like maybe D is like in the third character. So I want to build a dictionary. Like let's say take maybe maybe let me call it map. Map is not okay. Map is a keyword as well. Yeah, word map maybe. So I want to have something like let's say D is a 3 uh, R is 2. Let's see if it's okay. Yeah, it's okay. I'm always don't remember the exact syntax. I could be wrong. 1 and then like maybe like W is 0. So I will have a word map that reverse mapping back the things like this. So of course, you don't want to hard code like this. So for example, if I have like any word and want to, of course, in this case, I should have something unique here. So I can also like do something similar to what we did earlier. So I can build a dictionary very similar to earlier. So I can have like a tuple, let's say, uh, maybe C, let's see, for I am C in enumerate the word. So let's see what I have. So if I put I and CMI here, let's see, it's already doing that. So this will give me a list of like A is equal to 0, P is equal to 1, and so on. But note that this is not a dictionary, but I can force it into a dictionary. So I can put a dict here, then it just from a list to a dictionary. So now I have the dictionary that I want earlier. Oh, the word is okay. Word. Let me see. Why is Apple? Oh, okay. Now it's word. Yeah. Um. Maybe one more thing just for fun. Like, uh, you can process like word processing is very easy in Python. There's also lots of other packages. For example, like um, for the website, like I just copy my previous year website like last year, and actually 2 days ago I just write a simple script to change the date because I need to change the date every year it's different day. So maybe you need to do something like that. Then you need to process like dates. There's a library, for example, like from datetime. There's a datetime. I can import date and time delta. That this function can allow me to process date. So for example, I can get today was today. Today is like this. Then I can say like what's tomorrow. By the way, I didn't even haven't defined. I mean, describe function yet. Function in Python is quite easy, or like method is quite easy. Maybe I define a function like that. It's called tomorrow, and return day tomorrow will be like today plus time delta 1 day later. So I guess I need to have a bracket here. Yeah. So and then like then I have tomorrow. If I call tomorrow, oops, then it should give me tomorrow. Oh, yeah. So okay, I guess like we are time. Uh I will continue a little bit, then I will talk about color and like maybe something like just related to OpenCV next time. Yeah. Okay. So any questions? If not, I guess I'm going to end here. Yeah. Okay. Okay. See you guys next week then. Oh, not at all. Like it's good to interrupt. Like just have any question, just interrupt. It's okay. I try to keep uh paying attention to your chat yeah messages. Yeah. So yeah, feel free to interrupt anytime. Oh no, that's fine. Yeah. Uh no, actually, if you're Python, yeah, I would just like no, you don't need to. Especially if you're a graduate student, you're staying for PhD, it's fine. But I'm just saying like I would encourage you guys when you have time. Of course, many of you guys are busy, right, with many stuffs. But when you have time before you graduate, play a little bit of Linux is good for your career. Um, and but for this course, you don't need to install Ubuntu. Um, you can just install OpenCV for an account if you are just used to Windows. But yeah, in the long run, always like good to learn like Linux. I think yeah. So I really uh, the recording is like on the website. Yeah. So if you go to the website, you can use Jupyter like for the first homework. Like I will ask you to pull. What I'm saying like you cannot uh use Colab basically because Colab is running on the cloud. You cannot actually access to your that cannot access to your webcam. Yeah, the video is here. Like basically, I will just put it here on the website. And So you can install, like for example, if you're using Windows and you don't have time to play with Linux, you can install. Okay, just as I follow here, uh, install Anaconda. It should work for you, I believe. Um, and install Anaconda and install OpenCV. So then it should work. If it doesn't work, let me know. So I see there's probably no more questions. I will just end the connection now. So I will see you guys next week. Bye.